also saw a very interesting version of this, and I think Louis Jourdan did it on television, in which, as Dr. Jekyll, he was a very unattractive man. As Mr. Hyde, he became terribly handsome, Louis Jourdan. So he was able to go out and attract all these women and be with all these women he wanted to be with. Whereas it's just the opposite in the Frederick March version and the Spencer Tracy version, because he's so frighteningly unattractive in those, you would think nobody would want to be with him, that they'd run from him, because he is monstrous looking.
Well, there's that moment when Frederick March is walking along the street with his colleague, and they're debating about the validity, I guess, of Dr. Jekyll's work, and the other actor says, "We may control our actions, if not our impulses," which kind of defines the film, and in Stevenson's book. And that plays out in other ways in films I've been exposed to. One I love was not just the membrane between Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, a man who unleashes his own libido with the use of chemistry. But one I read a script once, it was sent to me, was about a guy who two different actors would play the same character, older and younger. And a guy would be in a bar, a young man, and he'd be trying to meet a woman and trying to seduce a woman in a bar. And then he'd turn around, sitting next to him was his older self. And his older self would turn to him and say, "Well, now here's where you got that wrong. And here's what you were. And then later on, the older actor would be having a scene in which he'd given up hope. And the younger actor would say, "Well, you know, you have to try to remember when you were young." And the older and younger actor would keep speaking to each other in different scenes. It was very, very compelling.
Well, so we've wrapped up another week. So you'll come back next week again?
I hope so.
Okay. Look forward to it.
Thank you.
Well, indeed, Alec and I will be back next week for more in our Friday Night Spotlight devoted to the pre-code era. But there's more pre-code movies ahead right now, so stick with us.
Tonight on TCM's Friday Night Spotlight, it's a hard-knock life for Miriam Hopkins in the story of Temple Drake. Then sideshow attractions stick together in Freaks, and Kay Francis falls for a crook in jewel robbery.
From the shores of Europe they came,